prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin' VAWLS Network. This is a special edition of Talkin' VAWLS Live. This is a lunchtime live. We're going to go for about 30 minutes here while I'm on my lunch break. So welcome on in. Do me a favor before we even get rolling. Smash that thumbs up below the video. You guys know the deal. Just press it, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff. And we're going to get into this. And look, man, I understand, guys, emotions are high. And that's kind of why we are doing this. That's why we are doing a live stream, a lunchtime live, because emotions are high. Everybody has opinions and everybody wants them to be heard. So we're going to talk about Kaidon Salter. We're going to talk about what it takes to be a leader. We're going to talk about what it means to be a family and when you give up on family or when you continue to forgive and give more opportunities. So like I said, I want your opinions to be heard. This live show is for you guys. One thing I do ask, let your opinion be heard, but as always, keep it civil. Please keep it civil, especially with each other. But again, this live stream is for you, so we'll get into it. We'll talk about it. Let's see who's hanging out. Donovan is in the chat. He says, let's do it. Yeah, Donovan, you always get me fired up, and you make me want to go live on my lunch break. So that's where we're at. Boogie, I could use to starve myself a little bit, to lose a little weight. So Donovan is helping me out with that. Wesley Hoskins is here, says go Vols, beat UT Junior. Yeah, reminder. Thank you, Wesley. Thank you for keeping me on track since I'm on here by myself. Tennessee takes on Texas at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Myself and the Indy Kid will be live immediately following the game, so tune in for that. Cody Branch says, dang, nobody else is in here. Where is everybody? Yeah, that happens. That tends to happen on these lunchtime live shows. I get it. Some people are at work and have things going on. Others will catch it later, so it is what it is. But welcome on in, guys. Again, hit that thumbs up. We'll get going. Sorry, I had to busy. I'm multitasking. Captain Andrew Crabtree is here. So see you later, Salter. We don't need it. Go Big Orange. The Southern Life is here as well. Says, what up, Boogie? Merch came in. I'm going to post on the Facebook page soon. Oh, well, cool. Thank you. Thank you for picking up merchandise. We appreciate that. Donovan Milliken with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Donovan, for that super chat. He says, Boogie, I say stay, but last chance for Salter. So you guys know, why we're here. You guys know why we're here. It's to talk about Kaidon Salter after once again getting in trouble. And some of you, like I said, you have strong opinions. You say, this is stupid. Why are we talking about this? It's just weed. Other people say enough is enough and Salter has to go. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear your opinions. When you look at this article from A to Z Sports, some people have very strong opinions and it's on both sides. So I caught a lot of heat in the comment section on the video that I dropped. And I really felt like I tried to stay neutral because when I'm being honest, when I'm talking about this Kaidon Salter situation, I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know. Am I disappointed in Kaidon Salter? 100%. 100%. And the first thing I question, Dakota Dyer here in the chat. What's up, Dakota? Says 0 leadership capabilities so far. Why keep? That's a big point. It's a big factor. Victor Lockwood in the chat says leadership has been lacking in our program for too long. Salter isn't demonstrating those qualities. Thank you, Corey Braswell, for becoming a member of the channel. We appreciate it. Bruce Eklund, what is the curfew, weed or not? And that's a good starting point. Why are you out at 3 o'clock in the morning? Nothing good happens after midnight. Why are you out? What are the actions of a leader? A lot of you guys in the chat talking about leadership, what it means to be a leader. I don't know what Joe Milton is doing at 3 in the morning, but I know that Joe Milton came in early, got on campus early to start putting in work immediately. There's been a lot of footage of Harrison Bailey putting in work over the summer after spring practice. And it's not footage that Harrison Bailey tweeted out. You know, a lot of times you see these kids and they tweet out that they're putting in work. They toot their own horn. That's not what happened with Harrison Bailey. Harrison Bailey was putting in work behind the scenes, and it just happened to get tweeted out. He didn't do it himself. So Joe Milton showed up early. Joe Milton went to work. Harrison Bailey putting in work. Hendon Hooker, not a negative word about that guy since he arrived on campus. You can question his play on the field, but as far as being a leader, doing the right things, heard nothing negative about Hendon Hooker. The only thing I've seen of him outside of football is I saw him have a goofy three-point competition with VAWLS Jones, building relationships with teammates. Why are you out at 3 a.m.? Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to look through some of the comments. A lot of the people that were so aggressive on the opposite side of this don't seem to be showing up. John Rosenbaum in the chat. What's up, John? Thanks for coming on in. I'm glad you enjoy listening to my views. And look, I'm not here to tell you guys what to think. I'm here and just voice my opinion. Corey Braswell in the chat says, I smoke weed daily, but I don't make dumbass decisions like he does. Sorry, Corey, I almost put you on probation. He just got off probation 3 weeks ago. And that's another point that I wanted to get into. You know, a lot of people, it's just weed. They talk about the amount of weed. They talk about weed should be legal. But let's go back to what Corey just said. Kaidon Salter was just reinstated to this team 3 weeks ago. So it's not just a little weed. We just had an incident back in March. Now here we are, just a few months later, reinstated 3 weeks ago. We're already back in trouble. According to Brent Hubbs over on VAWLQuest.com, Kaidon Salter is already on probation with the Office of Student Conduct for what took place back in March. So what does a violation of that probation mean? In Hubbs' post on VAWLQuest, he said that it could possibly be a 1-year suspension from school. So my question to Kaidon Salter is, are you taking this opportunity seriously? Was your apology sincere? You know, I've talked about Kaidon Salter a lot on this channel. The kid has never put on pads for a single practice. Not one practice in pads, but yet he seems to continually find himself in the center of attention, and not good attention. Not good attention. So again, I go back. Was your apology sincere? Here's the tweet. Here's the tweet that he sent out back in March. Just want to take this opportunity to apologize to my team, my coaches, the Vol fans, and my parents for my negative choices. I know my choices disappointed many, but my end goal is to eliminate my distractions, get on the field, and earn my respect back. I really admired him for this tweet. But when I made that video, I also talked about how he says, earn my respect back. If you're going to eliminate distractions, I would probably start by not being out at 3 o'clock in the morning. That would probably be a good start. Google email creative name, I love it, says he needs to be tested daily if he stays. And that kind of sends me down another train of thought. A lot of people saying that he needs to go. Enough is enough. Twice in 3 months, Boogie, send him packing. A lot of us talk about Josh Heupel and how he's creating a family dynamic in Knoxville. Is it a family? When is enough enough? Do you give up on family? Do you write family off? Or do you try to help family? I'm going to say this. I probably should have asked him before I say it. But in one of the Facebook groups where I promoted the video from last night, Gerald Riggs Jr. commented, talking about how he would like to reach out to Kaidon Salter and help him. And I love seeing that from a former football player at the University of Tennessee. But he also said that, he doesn't do that anymore, that he doesn't reach out to players that he doesn't know personally because it usually doesn't go well. But I like Google email's comment. He needs to be tested daily. I think the reason I waffle on this, I think as a program, Tennessee needs to find a way to help Kaidon Salter. Will Brisk says, 3 strikes, you're out, in my opinion. Dale Robertson said, no debate. It's over. End of story. The kid has to go. So some of you guys with this train of thought, some of you guys that have the strong opinion that enough is enough and Kaidon Salter has to go away. Where does Tennessee stand in that? When Josh Heupel sits down with your parents and he talks about taking care of you, he talks about that family atmosphere, he talks about loving you, looking after you like a father figure. What does it say if Josh Heupel just writes him off and sends him packing? Corey Braswell says his dad needs him right now to act like a man and not a child. Just very immature, young man, plain and simple. Yep, he is a young man. I mean, when the incident went down back in March, I mean, you're talking about a 17-year-old kid. We all made a lot of stupid mistakes as 17-year-old kids. But I don't know how many of you in the chat, I know I wasn't a major college athlete. I wasn't playing for the University of Tennessee. I wasn't trying to fight for a position as the starting quarterback for the University of Tennessee. Andrew Warren with a good comment here. He said, with the same people saying he has to think the same way if he was leading Tennessee to dubs. Think about it. The only reason people want him to go is because he has yet to prove anything. You could compare that to Jeremy Pruitt. Same thing has been said about the NCAA investigation, the things going on that Jeremy Pruitt caused. If Jeremy Pruitt was winning, all that gets swept under the rug. Gets forgotten. Because as football fans, all you want wins, right? All you want to do is win. Victor Lockwood says, I think Heupel can treat him like family, but still protect this team, his team, by doing what Pruitt did with Banks. He made Banks earn his way back. I think what makes this tough is the timing of it all. The timing with Kaidon Salter. If this was a one-time incident, if nothing happened back in March, would we be having this conversation? And that's where Mark Williams is going. Similar train of thought. He had a chance to make things right. He sent out, as someone pointed out earlier in the chat, the generic apology that allegedly was written for him. Allegedly. Aaron Brown in the chat. What's up, Aaron? Heupel has to set a standard. Every player shouldn't get 2 free strikes. This ain't baseball. You better swing early. you better swing early. We got 80 people watching live, random impromptu lunchtime live stream. Doing this for you guys. A lot of strong opinions. I wanted your voice to be heard. I'm kind of playing off the chat, seeing what you guys have to say. Corey agrees with Aaron, says bullseye. And that's why, going back to this article on A to Z Sports, where they kind of talk about this, they take that strong stance as well. Josh Heupel has no choice but to kick Kaidon Salter off this team. And, they kind of explained what happened with Kaidon Salter. They show the report where the incident happened here. And then you go on, and let me quote who did this article, because I use A to Z Sports articles quite a bit. I like to give them credit. Zach Reagan at A to Z Sports wrote this article. He says, I fully believe in second chances, but if these charges are legitimate, then Salter has to go. This is clearly a sign that Salter isn't taking his opportunity at Tennessee seriously. That's something I said earlier. How seriously are you taking this? You were reinstated 3 weeks ago. Getting stopped in a car with drugs just a few weeks after being reinstated shows that Salter viewed the incident in March as a blip on the radar. And that's what I go back and look at when we talk about another opportunity. How many opportunities do you get? And a lot of people I know are going to roll in. They're going to listen to this after the fact. They're going to listen to this after I'm off the air. They're going to leave their comments with their opinions. I ask that you guys listen to the whole show. Don't come in and hear my opinion for one side and ignore the rest, because I don't know what the answer is. I'm asking you guys the questions. I want you to provide the answers. What is the answer? Because as the article says, if he looked at that incident back in March as just not being a big deal, why? Why is it not a big deal? Because was there really a punishment? You missed spring practice, but you're going to come back to the team. I don't know that you really had to earn your way back. You put out the apology. The article goes on to say, how can Heupel trust Salter to lead by example when he's already letting his team down before he's even stepped on the field? As I said earlier, the kid's not even put the pads on yet. He's not even put the pads on for practice. Alan B. Troll Patrol. What's up, Alan? Love me some lunchtime live stream. I'm glad. It does make my day a little chaotic, but I enjoy the interaction with you guys. I think we got really a diehard fan base that shows up for the lunchtime lives. Either that or maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys work night shift. Fireball says, give him another chance. If we don't quit on him, he won't quit on us. Is that the answer? Is that the route Josh Heupel should go? Do you sit down with Kaidon Salter, maybe even sit down with his parents and say, look, let's look at what's happened since March and over the course of a 3-month span. And don't forget, go back to March. I felt bad for Kaidon Salter and what he was going through with his dad. But did you learn? Did you learn from that mistake? Or is it, as the article says here, that Salter viewed it as a blip on the radar? What happens if you just forgive this one and you move on? You forgive this and you move on. Does he just consider this a blip on the radar? Is he going to be out at 3:00 in the morning 2 weeks from now? Is he going to be out at 3:00 in the morning before the Florida game? Is he going to be out at 3:00 in the morning before getting whipped by Kentucky and embarrassed by Kentucky inside of Neyland Stadium? Or do you sit down? Is the answer to sit down with Kaidon Salter and sit down with his parents and lay out the law? You got one more shot. You got one opportunity. Evan Count says redshirt him. See if he can go a whole year, keep his nose clean. I'm not mad at that idea. Maybe that's the answer. You sit down with Kaidon Salter and his parents, and you say, you're not going to step foot on the field this entire season, which I don't know that he was going to anyway. After missing spring practice, I don't know that he was even going to have that opportunity. But you sit down with him and you tell him up front, you are not going to play a single snap this season. How bad do you want it, young man? How bad do you want it? Can you keep your nose clean, like Evan says? Can you keep your nose clean for a full year before you even have an opportunity to step foot on the field inside of Neyland Stadium? Mark Williams says, remember, this team wants accountability. And that's what the article goes on to say here. You know, it says there are certain ways that leaders handle themselves. Look at Josh Dobbs. And that's another thing. You can call it whatever you want, but quarterbacks in the SEC, quarterbacks at the University of Tennessee are held to a higher standard than everybody else, whether it's fair or not. It is what it is. You talk about team chemistry last year. Some people felt a certain wide receiver didn't put forth a whole lot of effort once number 2 trotted off the field and a different quarterback entered the game. How many players on this team are going to trust Kaidon Salter? Fuse Gaming says, I disagree with giving him another chance. He's done this twice in 3 months. Get him out to Cali. Send him out to Cali. We have good quarterbacks anyway. Evan Counts drops a $14.99 super chat. Doesn't say anything. Just says, here's a tip in the old jar, Boogie. I appreciate that, Evan. You guys throw money at me. It makes it way more easy. Way more easy for a hectic Tuesday by spending my lunch break with you guys. But like I was saying, guys, the quarterbacks, they're held to a different standard. The article, this is a really good article fighting for this side of the argument. It says Heupel has to set the tone for his tenure as Tennessee's head coach. If he lets Salter remain on the team after he showed a blatant disregard for the rules. Again, that's what I want people to understand. If this was the first incident, if what happened was just the first incident, you show a whole lot more leeway. Twice in 3 months, as the last person in the chat said. Twice in 3 months. If he lets Salter remain on the team after he showed blatant disregard for the rules, then he's signaling to the rest of his team that the rules do not matter. Donovan Milliken with another $19.99 super chat. Thank you, Donovan. No, I feel like you probably claim us on your taxes at this point. But I appreciate every single super chat. I see a lot of people agreeing in the chat. A lot of people seem ready to move on. I don't see a lot of the aggressive opinions in the chat that I thought I would see. Got a lot of them in the comments section. This was supposed to be the great debate. Michael Shaw says, I don't pay taxes. You can pay me. Google email says, I wonder if Dobbs and or Payton has spoken to him after his second strike. Would it matter? That's a good point. It goes back to what I said about Gerald Riggs Jr. on Facebook, commenting on, the promotional post that I made. How would you feel? And this question goes to you guys and to me. How would you feel if you were in his shoes, if you were in Kaidon Salter's shoes, and somebody that you didn't know from Adam reached out to you and wanted to tell you what you should or should not be doing? And that was Gerald Riggs Jr.'s response. He says he's tried that in the past and it didn't really go over well. So that's a difficult situation. Josh Heupel finds himself in a difficult situation because, as the article said, you keep giving people second opportunity, third opportunity, fourth opportunity. What do the rest of the guys on the team think? What do the guys think that are keeping their nose clean? The guys that are doing things the right way? Elijah Allen, I'm not going to make an example of you, but I expected to get more comments like this. So I'm going to use it to make a point. Elijah Allen says, I just hate ruining a young man's life for a little bit of pot. I understand that he's done it twice, but he's a very, very young man. It's just, that's what I see a lot. It's just a little bit of pot. It's just a little bit of weed, Boogie. Not a big deal. All college kids do it. 75% of college kids do it. 95% of college kids do it. People throw around a lot of numbers of how many college kids do it. But the reality of the situation is rules and laws matter. And regardless of, a lot of people want to argue that it should be legal in the state of Tennessee. And I'm not here to debate that, because the fact of the matter is it is illegal in Tennessee. I saw some people in the comments saying, blaming it on the police for doing their job. Law enforcement did what they were supposed to do. It's illegal. And I think we have to be careful not placing the blame on law enforcement, not placing the blame on politicians, on lawmakers, and instead place the blame where it belongs. And that's on Kaidon Salter. And I'm not saying that we write off Kaidon Salter. I'm not saying that we kick him to the curb. I don't know what the answer is. I said Josh Heupel's faced with a difficult decision, and he is. Mark Goins brings up a great point. 95% of college students aren't scholarship athletes. You're held to a different standard, whether you like it or not. You are held to a different standard. What's up, Bob? Thanks for dropping in. Long time no see, buddy. Like Bob says, do like Bob says. If you guys are going to ignore me, do like Bob says and smash that thumbs up. Impromptu lunchtime live stream. Let you guys know about it an hour and a half ago that we were going to do this. We just hit 100 people in the chat. So I appreciate you guys jumping on and hanging out with me. Smash the thumbs up. Thank you to every one of you that dropped a super chat. Feel free to come back in the comment section and have some good, healthy debate over what's right and what's wrong. Most people in this live chat right now seem to agree. But if you want to debate and argue, that's great. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. We're all one big community here. Keep it clean. Keep it civil. That's all I ask. Another quick reminder before we wrap this thing up, myself and the Indy Kid will be live. It's win or go home for this Tennessee baseball program. Win or go home. We're going to find out who the real UT is at 2 p.m. We'll be live immediately following the game, so tune in for that. I'll be setting up the link for that here just shortly. Again, I want to thank you guys, all of you, for joining me, for hanging out. If you guys continue to show up like this, I'll continue to try to do a lunchtime live every week, if at all possible, especially once the season gets going. But any news breaks, we'll go live. Yes, Fireball, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Tennessee takes on Texas. I believe it's on ESPNU. So we'll be live probably 5:30 as soon as the game wraps up. Donovan, we all know who the real UT is, but we're going to settle it on the field. Mark Williams drops a $5 super chat as we head out the door. He says, go Vols. Thank you, Mark, for the tip. Appreciate all the support, guys. That's going to wrap it up for this one. Until this evening, this is the Talkin' Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The